All right. Okay, hello. If you're online, I hope that you can now hear me. We are getting everything together here in the classroom, so we'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes. So if you are having any trouble, please let us know at this time. All right. Okay, if you can't hear me, can you type into the chat box? I want to make sure you have the ability to type into the chat box. All right, thank you. Thank you, Rosalind. All right. And Rhonda. Okay, perfect. So I got a couple people coming in, and it is 1 o'clock, so we're going to get started here in just a minute. I have to close the door, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, so all the doors are closed. We're ready to go. So we're going to get this started today. And to get this started, I wanted to ask a couple questions of you. So, and today in my presentation, so you should all know, I am Nancy Messina, and I am here to give a presentation on eBooks, what every student and faculty member should know. So we're going to be talking a lot about the basics, but we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty on downloading and using these resources. Because it's not the same thing as you might have used a public library. It's different. The academic setting for eBooks is quite a bit different than what you might be used to. So in order for me to know a little bit about you, I have a couple of questions, so we're going to get started with those. And so the first question, and if you're online, I'm going to put a poll out there for you. And we're going to do this poll. Let's see if I know how to do that. All right, just a second. Can you see the poll? Did the poll show up? Sorry, I'm new to this, so oh. They just need to use this. Okay. All right. Okay, so it should be up there. If not, you can just put other staff or student. Okay, that works. That lets me know what you are, because I'm just trying to get a feel for who is interested in this topic. So it gives me an idea. Okay, thank you. All right. All right. So one more. We're going to do 2 more questions. No, welcome. Oh no, that's okay. We're just.
Are these all set up, or do I need them?
We're basically just using online things, so you should be fine. So okay. All right, so we're just getting started with getting to know the audience. Okay. All right, so our next question is going to be, perhaps the most obvious question is, have you used eBooks before at all? So yes or no to that. All right. Okay, that's good. So, have you used eBooks before?
Not through Ellis.
Not through Ellis?
I mean, I borrowed them from the public library, just fun books to read and that kind of thing.
Okay, but with some difficulty. Okay, so we have a couple of yeses, but maybe not necessarily here. And then if you have used them, you've used them at the public library. Have you used them at any libraries that maybe you have with some difficulty? So that's what I wanted to get to know you a little bit about how you use them. So have you used them before? Yeah. Have you used some paint? Oh, okay.
This is things all Asian outside
All right, so excellent. That tells me a little bit about what we're doing and what you know. Okay, so I'm going to move on, and I want to just let you know what our agenda is for today. So what are we going to be covering? So for today's session, I'm going to cover the basics, some of the basics. So how do you find ebooks here at Ellis or at the University of Missouri? And that's going to be using Merlin, so I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you how to use and download these ebooks, because that is usually where everything seems to go wrong for most users. And I'm going to show you the two platforms we have the most ebooks on, which are EBSCO and ebrary. So I'm going to really show those in depth so that you know how to use them, what it should look like, where you might go wrong, some of those tricks of the trade when it comes to ebooks. And then we're going to end with some other ebook platforms you might encounter. There are a lot of ebook platforms out there, especially in the academic world. So I won't cover all of them. You might encounter a whole bunch, but hopefully after today's session, you're going to know what to look for and have a better understanding of what you're going to see when you're using ebooks here in Ellis or at the MU libraries. Okay, so how the session is going to work. So it is an all PowerPoint session. Because this is happening online and in person at the same time, I thought it'd be easiest for it to be a PowerPoint. So I have a lot of screenshots so that you know what's all going on. But if there are questions, if something is missing in the session, you can always contact me later. I'll be happy to see what we can do. And you have the option. So if you brought your own laptop or you want to see how the steps go, you can follow along. I pretty much have it step by step so that you can follow along. Or you can just you can watch me do it. So you can either do the steps with me or you can follow along. Either one is fine with me. And then if you have questions, I want you to ask them because this is a complicated process, and I might, in my understanding, I might miss something that you guys have been having so much trouble with. So I want you to ask those questions. And because it's a topic I'm really into, sometimes I get really excited and I talk really fast. So if I'm talking too fast, you just have to let me know, and I will slow down and make sure you understand what is going on. Okay, so let's get started on this topic. So we are talking about how do you find ebooks. So with the library, the most important place you want to go, and this is for anything, is library.missouri.edu. That's where you start. This is the beginning of it all. So if you come to the library, you're going to want to use the classic catalog. That is Merlin. It is where all of our books are easily located, and it's going to be the #1 place to go if you're searching for ebooks on this campus. All right, so if we click on that classic catalog link down at the bottom, you will go here. This is where it's going to take you. It's going to bring you into Merlin. If you're on a tablet, it might look different. Sometimes it gives you a web version, which I'm not quite as much a fan of. I think it's a little bit more limiting. But I was shocked. If I went through the library website, it gave me the normal version of Merlin. But if I just tried to go Merlin direct through Google, it gave me the web version, the app version. So you never know what you're going to see on your tablet. But I'm showing the web version for today, the one that if you're on a computer, you're going to see. And so we have this going on. And for finding ebooks, the most direct route to finding them is actually going to be the advanced search. So I have that arrow pointing to the advanced search because it is going to be the easiest way for you to quickly get those ebooks. So I'm going to move on to that next slide. And I have set this up. So I have set it up so that I'm getting rid of a couple of those options. As far as all the other things you might see in advanced search, I'm just showing the ones that are for my purposes today. And you always have to have a search word to find some books. So today's topic is cats. Librarians love cats, so hey, I thought we should do some research on cats. And then below those search terms, there's going to be a bunch of different options, but I'm only showing you the one that I think is most interested for today's class, and that's going to be material type. So you want to select that ebook material type, and then you're only going to be searching and seeing results that are ebooks. So it's an electronic format. All right, so we hit that submit button, and the submit button is going to take us off into our search results. So here are the results for a ebook search about cats. All right, so there's a couple things I want you to notice. So the first one is going to be that green arrow. The green arrow says MU. And that is really, really critical when it comes to ebook searching on this campus. Merlin is actually the catalog for all the University of Missouri campuses, and you can search all of their books at the same time as you search ours. So you can search all those things. But for ebooks, that is not necessarily the way you want to search them, because you cannot use any other campus's ebooks besides ours. So if it says a UMKC ebook, the only way you're going to be able to access that is if you're actually on the University of Missouri Kansas City's campus. So you have to be there. Or if you have dual enrollment or dual status, so you are a UMKC user and a University of Missouri user, you could use both, but I am not, so we're just using it for MU. So you want to make sure you have MU selected, then you'll be seeing those only MU resources. All right. The next thing you'll see, I have in these little arrows highlighting the different locations. So you have MU Online and freely accessible. We're going to go through those a little bit later in the presentation, but I wanted you to be aware that those are out there so you can see a little bit of the difference in those locations. Okay, so let's actually look at a record. So I wanted to start with EBSCO. We have a ton of EBSCO books, and I get the most questions about EBSCO ebooks of any variety. So I wanted to start with an EBSCO ebook so you can see how it looks. And I did change it around a little bit, so just in case you've never seen the All Merlin function, I'd say it's an All Merlin instead of just MU. Because we're looking at All Merlin, we can see all of the other links to connect. And you can see that there's Missouri Science and Technology, MU Online, UMKC, UMSL. The only one that will get you to this book is MU Online if you're a Mizzou student or faculty member. So you have to click on that in order for this to work. So you have to use that connect to, and it has to be MU Online. All right, so when you click on that MU Online access, it's an EBSCO product, so you're going to be carried over to EBSCO. Now, if you are not on this campus, or you're not using campus Wi-Fi, you are going to have to go through a different step. You're going to have to log in because you are going into a database. EBSCO is a database it has lots of ebooks and things, so you're going to have to sign in, use that paw-printed password, which is the ticket for all library resources. So it's going to take you through that. So if you're off campus, you're going to have to log in. And once you're there, this is going to be what happens. You're going to see this. If it doesn't bring it up, you can always contact us, and we'll see about making sure you can gain access when you're off campus. So it pulls up this record, and you're looking at all this information, and it tells you about the book, what it has. On the left hand, you have two options. It says PDF full text or download this ebook and read it offline. So those are the two options as far as how you can view this book. And so we're going to be looking at those two different options today. The first one, and I'm going to click on the PDF full text first because I want you to see what that is. And usually this is pretty simple. People understand how this works. But just in case you didn't know this was an option, it is handy to know. So I'm going to click on that PDF full text, and here it is. I'm viewing it in my web browser. So if I don't mind looking at it online, this can be extremely handy. I can just look at the different pages. On the left-hand side, it gives me the contents of all the table of contents. I can go straight to the book and go to the pages I'm interested in. So that's very, very handy. It actually has on the right-hand side, it has tools. And we're going to take a look at some of those in more detail. But you can actually search within the book itself. So you can search the text. That is extremely handy for a lot of students. So you can definitely do that. The part that I am most interested in today, though, is a lot of times people don't want to read these online. They want to take them with them. And so maybe you're interested in only one chapter of this, or you have a couple pages that are really critical to your research. So that's where we're going to look at on the left-hand side, those tools. There is a Save Pages and an Email Pages link. And both of those are very useful and very handy. And I'm going to take a look at them in a little bit more detail. So the Save and Email feature. The nice part about this is that if you don't want to have to look at that book online, you can save or email so many pages. Now, one thing with ebooks you should know is that there is no true standard of you get so many pages for every ebook, or you get certain percentages. It is all based on the licensing and the publisher and what's been decided beyond our control. So you can beg us for more pages, and we're just at the control of the publisher. So we really can't do very much about that. So when you're looking at this, for saving and emailing, you have the same number. It's kind of tiny, but it is 60. So in this particular case, you can get up to 60 pages either saved or emailed. And it really depends on what you're using this for. If you're on your own computer, saving it to your computer might be the way to go. If you're emailing, it allows you to email it to someone else. So there are different options there too. Now, I said there's 60 pages you can download or email. And in this case, in the green, which is really quite tiny, it actually says in this section, which is actually the book because we're looking at the title page, there are 98 pages. So when you're getting 60 pages, you're getting a significant part of this book. So this is a really nice book to get. And some will allow you to download the whole thing. Others will allow you only 10 pages. So it really is very dependent on the book itself. But this can be very useful if you just need a certain amount. You can try this out. Okay, so that is what you would do if you were looking at it online and you didn't want to go through the download process. Now, if you do want to go through the download process, this is probably where people get the absolute most frustrated. This is not an easy process. They don't make it easy. If you've used ebooks through the public library, it's just one click and everything seems so nice. That is not the case at the academic level. So at the academic level, it's a multi-step process, which is why I always like to show the PDF full text option first, because if you don't need to, it is kind of nice not to have to go through the download process. All right, but we're going to do the download process, so if you do want that book, you know how to do it. I want you to be an informed group of people. So we click on download, and here are the many steps to downloading your ebook from EBSCO. So number one, do you have an account? The first thing they're going to say is, do you want to sign in or do you want to create an account? I already have an account, but if you don't, this is where you're going to create one. You don't automatically have an account by being an MU user. This is actually strictly an EBSCO thing. We have nothing to do with it. Your account is your own. We never see it. It's not affiliated with us. You can use any email you want. It is all yours. We have nothing to do with it. It is really just for EBSCO, and it has some great benefits. It's not just for ebooks. You can use it in any of the EBSCO databases. You can save, download, do all kinds of things. So it's not a bad thing to have, but if you don't have one, you're going to have to create that account. And I will say that I've never got any emails from them, so they're not one of those big spammers, which is really nice. I really hate spam email. Okay, so the next step, downloading. All right, so downloading is kind of a multi-step process. So first you have to log in. Now you're going to try to download this book. And there's a couple things you should note while you're checking it out. So the very first one is that big red arrow, viewing requirements. Okay, before you even try to download this, make sure you have one of those things that's in the viewing requirements. On a desktop computer, you have to have Adobe Digital Editions on your computer. And it says it has to be at least 1.7 version or above. So you have to have that. The version I had for this demo is actually number 3, and it's up to 4, I think, at this point. So if you're on a desktop, you have to have Adobe Digital Editions on your computer. So that's really one thing to note. The other thing is that if you're on a tablet, I'm a tablet user, so when I read books, I don't want to be on my computer. I like that small tablet. It's really nice. But you have to have a specific app, or at least they recommend that you should have the Blue Fire Reader app on your tablet. So that's really critical. And then the next step, they say, is the Kindle. So there's always the exception to the rule. And in this case, they say PDFs can be created in the ebook full text. So if you want to read it on your Kindle, you are not going to be able to download this ebook because it's not in a true PDF format. Up here above the checkout, it has format PDF. Well, that's not. It's not actually a .pdf, so it doesn't work the same way. So kind of a little bit of a confusion there. So it's not going to let you put this on your Kindle. Because of that, you'd actually have to go through the PDF and then save some of the pages, and then you could load it onto your Kindle if that's what you wanted to do. So last but not least, there is the checkout period. This is not standard either. A lot of them say 7 days, and that's all you get. We are not the ones that control that. We've talked to them. We're still in negotiations trying to see if we can get it longer because, to be honest, an academic book takes longer than 7 days to read. So having to go through the download process multiple times each week can be quite a bit frustrating. So we are looking into that. But it does have that 7-day, or you can choose less if you want to. So there is that. Okay, so if you have all the information you want, you know you have what you need to view it, then we go to the next thing. So if you're downloading this onto your computer for the first time, or if you haven't already got your computer or tablet, well, your computer set up, one thing you need to know is that you should open with and then browse for the correct program. Because if you automatically open it, it's going to try to do it in Adobe Reader, and then it's going to say, this doesn't work. It's going to be kind of, you're going to feel that moment of, why doesn't it work? Why does it hate me? Well, it's just the computer isn't smart enough in some respects. Like, they're super smart, but it thinks it's a PDF, but it actually is not a .pdf file. It is actually a .ascsm file, and those can only be read using Adobe Digital Editions. So you have to make sure you browse, find Adobe Digital Editions, and use that. So I have some screenshots, what it looks like in Firefox. Make sure you use that open with. And then when you browse, this is what Adobe Digital Editions looks like. So you hunt it down. And if you don't have it, it is a free download from Adobe Digital Editions. So if you Google that, you can download it for free onto your computer. Okay, and this is what it's going to look like. It doesn't look a whole lot different than what you saw in the version online, but it is there for 7 days. So you now have this for 7 days, and you can flip through the different pages, go through the process. In my little image, it has a little library screen, so you can see all the different books in your library. You can have multiple books at the same time checked out. And because I'm a librarian, the last step of this whole process is return. It's not necessary, but it's nice. Because some of these books, we only have one copy. So if you're the person using that one copy, that means that while you have it checked out, no one else can use it. So here you can just do a right click and you can return that borrowed item, which is always nice for those people who also want to use that book. I also wanted to show you what it was going to look like if you have an iPad, because that's where I'm going to use it the most. And so I have the Bluefire app already downloaded, so I downloaded that. When you click on that download, check out and download, it's going to bring up this screen into your browser. And you just have to click on that Open in Bluefire Reader. And then it's going to take you to the Bluefire Reader, and it will download inside that app. What it's going to look like is this. Bluefire Reader automatically gives you Treasure Island and the Bluefire Reader user guide. But as you can see in the middle, I have It's Raining Cats and Dogs. Ha! My download was successful. So I just have to click on that, and I'm in my book. And that's what it looks like. It's going to look pretty much the same as we had before on the computer. It's just on your tablet, so you can take it with you, and it's a little bit lighter maybe. All right, once again, returning. Over here there is, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, there is this little info image, so you can click on that info. That will bring up the ability for you to return the item. It also gives you all the information about when it's due, how long you have access to it, so all that information. And then what I've marked in red is going to be how you would return it. So you click on return, and it should send through.
Does it automatically return when it's due?
So the question is, does it automatically return if it's due? And it's going to still show up in your library, but it's going to say expired. So then you would actually have to, you can delete it from your library. If you return it, it just takes it off your library. So if you don't return it, it'll just stay in your library forever until you actually delete the books from the library. But you can't read it.
For other people to check out.
Right. It will be available. So once it's expired, it becomes available for other people. So if you don't actually return it, you can't read it because even though it's there, it's just going to tell you expired, but it stays in your library. But other people will be able to read it as soon as that expiration comes up. So you don't necessarily have to do the return. It's just always nice to know that that is an available option. Okay? All right. Okay, so that does conclude my trail through EBSCO. So this is the time if you have any questions regarding EBSCO to ask them. Because I think EBSCO is probably the most complicated. Okay. All right, if you don't have any questions, I want to make sure you have some time to type in case you do. But that concludes EBSCO, and now we're going to look on to another platform, see how it all works. So now we're moving on to ebrary. So that was result 5 in my cat search. I know we've kind of gotten away from cats. We used number 9 for EBSCO. Now we're looking at number 5, anesthesia and pain management in dogs and cats. So we're looking at those cats, and as you can see in this particular one, I only searched MU, so I only have that connect to, and it's only an MU link. The other thing I want you to notice is that on that connect to link, it has MU online access, 1 user at a time. Okay? This is not always there. It doesn't always tell you how many users can use the book. So if you're going to use this for a class, I would recommend that you talk to your librarian first. Make sure you know how many people can use the book, because if you assign it as reading for your whole class and we only have one user, it just didn't say that, you're going to have some really frustrated, angry students. We're going to have frustrated, angry students. Everyone kind of gets frustrated and angry. So we don't want to have that process happen. So if you do decide to use an ebook for your class and it doesn't tell you how many users can use it, talk to us first, and we will make sure we have everything set up for your class so they can use that when it comes time. And we don't have a whole bunch of people trying to use the same book and only one user. But for this one, you know it's one user, so that gives you some information. If you did want us to have more users, you would again have to contact us and we'd have to change our license agreement. Okay, so let's get into what does ebrary look like. So I click on that online access and ebrary. All right, so it looks a little bit different than EBSCO. Not tons. It still gives me all the book information. It still has my title. All that information is available. But what's different is that it's going to tell you whether or not it's available for online reading and if you can download this book. Not all books are actually downloadable. So in this particular case, we're looking at this book, and it says this book is not available for download. So you can't actually download this book, so you're only stuck with the online reading option. Now, when you're looking at this one, so my red arrow, it's pointing toward the available online. It has two different options for you. It has pages remaining for copy, so pages that you can copy, and then pages remaining to print, which actually are different numbers. You can copy up to 50 pages, and you can print up to 101. So with ebrary, you don't get the same number of copies as prints. So that's definitely something to consider when you're using this. So you want to know what you can do with these. So EBSCO is pretty, it just said you've got this many pages. ebrary is telling you what you can do with them, okay? So when we click on that available for online reading, I'm going to click on that, and it's going to take me into my book, all right? So this is what it looks like. I'm reading it online because it didn't let me download it. And here it is. Once again, it's going to have that table of contents. It allows you to search within the book. And at the very top, it has lots and lots of little icons to help make your reading experience a good one, okay? So the ones that I want to cover are going to be not the very first one, because that's the download icon, which we can't do. But starting with the one that I'm pointing to with the red arrow, that is going to be download a chapter, okay? So this is to allow you to get some pages if you decide to do that. So if you just need a small section of this book, you don't want to have to read it online, you can download the whole chapter. So that is very handy, as long as it doesn't go over the amount of pages that it limited you to on the first. Some chapters are a lot longer than that. So if we go to the next slide, this is what it's going to look like if you click on that icon I was pointing to, download a chapter. So it allows you to do that. It has the page range, so you can select exactly which pages you want. And since you only get 101 pages, you might want to be a little picky about the pages you want to download. Once you've selected them, it even gives you the citation, which is interesting. So if you're downloading it, it tells you how to cite those. And then you click on continue, and you're going to download them. And it says it's printing it to a PDF, so you'll have a PDF downloaded. So that's kind of handy. Since it didn't let you download the actual book, now you can download so many pages. All right. Now, if you didn't want to necessarily download the chapter, you just wanted to maybe copy a certain amount of text, this is a little different. It was not what I thought it was going to be. So in this particular case, it's actually copying the text of the book. So if you have some information that you really want to copy, it allows you to copy the actual text of the book. So it's not necessarily making a copy of anything. It is you deciding what text you want, and you make a copy. So this is what it's going to look like if you click on that next icon to copy text. And it tells you you're going to have to do a Control-C to get that text. And then once you're done, you click on Done, and you have the text copied. Okay? So it's a little different, not quite what I was expecting, but it allows you to do that for so many pages of the book. So you can do that, in this case, up to 50 pages. You can copy the entire text of the page. Okay? And the last one that I think is important for you to know, and this one is very similar to that download a chapter, and that's that printer button. The printer button is print to PDF, which is just straight print to PDF. So if I click on that, once again, print to PDF, it looks exactly like what we were looking like on that download chapter, and it still gives you the same options. So those are the two different things you'll be seeing when you're doing that. So you can either print or download a certain amount of pages, or you can copy the actual text of the book and put it into another file if that's what you were interested in. Okay. Any questions about the viewing online for eBrary? All right. Okay, so I'm going to move on, and this is what your record's going to look like just normally. So we have all of that. Once again, you have the table of contents, and you can search within the book. All right. Okay. So this time, I wanted to see how does it work when you're trying to download from eBrary. What does that look like? So I have to do some hunting. I was a little shocked. eBrary doesn't have as many downloadable books as I thought. So I hunted around and I found one. So if you want to look at this yourself, it is 3D Revolution, The History of Modern Stereoscopic Cinema. All right, and there, it's now in nice pretty letters, available for full download. And it tells you how many days. So in this case, you actually get it for 14 days at a time. So that's very nice. It's better than that 7. Still probably not what most people are hoping for when they want to download an academic text, but 14 days, you have it. You don't have to download it as often. So in this case, you want to click on that download. And in some respects, it's going to be very similar to EBSCO. Just like EBSCO, you have to have an account. And you can have the same password and email for your EBSCO and your eBrary accounts. I do because it just makes it simpler, but you can do whatever you want. So you have to make sure you have an account. So before, as you can see, you didn't actually have an account. You didn't have to have an account to do any of that copying and printing, which is nice, but you do have to have an account in order to download the book. So I have an account. If you don't, you'll have to create one. And then I move on. So this, they really try to make it a little easier, and they give you step-by-step directions. So it says, what device are you using? So if you are using your laptop or your desktop computer, it wants to know. It also wants to know if you're on your own computer or a public computer. So they're trying to get some information out so that they can help you go through this process. So I was on a laptop at the time, so I select my laptop option, and because I told it what I was doing, where I was coming from, it says I need Adobe Digital Editions. It even gives me links to downloading it. So if you don't have this, there it is. You can quickly download it online. You'll be set. It also tells you you have to have an Adobe ID, which is completely free because you have to actually register your Adobe Digital Edition copy. So that's something to keep in mind. And then if you have this already, I mean, we already used EBSCO, so if you already have this, you're set to go. You just said, I'm done with that step. We move on to step 3, which is nice. You just get to download it at this point. So, ready. We went through that step process. I told it where it was. It told me what I needed. And then here we are. I can download my book. So that is very handy. And if you do select the tablet option, it's going to tell you the different things you need for that too. So it does actually go through the whole process both ways. So it's very nice. Now you can download that book and you are on your way. All right, now with reading and returning, that is actually going to be the exact same process I showed you that we used for EBSCO. Because you're in Adobe Digital Editions or the Bluefire Reader, it's the same. It doesn't matter which platform you download that book from. When you're actually doing the reading, it's going to be the exact same feel, no different. So it's only the downloading that's pretty much the problem area. Okay, so do we have any questions about eBrary? All right, if we don't have any questions, I am going to move on. And we're going to talk about some of the other platforms that are available here at MU. Because I want you to feel like you're going to go out there and now you're going to know. You're going to have a great feeling of what is available, what you can do. I want you to feel empowered. So I have highlighted a couple. Now I'm looking at that freely available online one, which is number 3. In my cat search, and we're gonna get into those and see what it looks like. So we're gonna start with number 3 and move on to a couple of others. So in this particular case, once again, I have that connect to. You always want to look for the connect to link, and it says freely available online. Now this is very, very nice because you click on it, and it doesn't matter if you're an MU user or not. If it is freely available, it's freely available. You can get it anywhere, no paw print, no password required. You click on it and it's just going to take you straight to that thing. In this case, it is a government publication, so it's coming from GPO, and you get it in a PDF. That's it. You have a PDF. The PDF is yours. You can download it, print it, whatever you want to do. It took you straight to it, no real problems. Now, not everything is going to be a PDF. It's freely available, but it's really nice when they are. So you never know what those freely available ones are going to come out looking like, but they are right there and easy for you to get to. All right, next one is going to be result 4, which is going to be coming from Literature Online. It's actually coming from a database, and it says, "All cats are gray in the dark." All right, so that's our title. And one thing I want to note is that sometimes you're going to see a call number. So there's the connect to, which has the MU Online Access, which is always the link you want to click to. But every once in a while people get confused and they click on that call number, which says online. This actually will never take you to the book. Those actually are just ways to see similar books in that area. So it gives you a nearby on shelf kind of feature, so it'll show you what other books are in that particular area. So if you're looking for similar books, that would be what you're looking for. But if you actually want to gain access to the information, it's always the MU Online Access or the freely available access that you're going to have to click on. So if you do click on it, it takes you into the database. And here it is. Now you have it. This one is actually a part of a book, so it's not terribly long. But that's the nice thing. That's probably why it's in the database. Not necessarily it's the whole book, but it's giving you the different pieces of a particular book. So very handy to know about. All right. This is result number 7, cats. It's coming from Project Gutenberg. So we have lots and lots of different platforms out there, and we have Project Gutenberg books in our catalog. And so it tells you, this is the nice part, in that connect to, it kind of gives you an idea of where it's coming from. It does not tell you in the catalog record if you're going to be able to download it or not. We aren't really able to keep track of that, but it does tell you where it's going to come from. So in this case, it does say Project Gutenberg, which I was most excited about Project Gutenberg. I thought they had some really great options for downloading. It actually has an EPUB. EPUB is actually what you would use for The Blue Fire Reader, that's what they call those kind of formats. It's an EPUB format. It also has the Kindle edition. So if you do have a Kindle, finally, they've got this set up for you. So that's really nice, and it allows you to read it online or in plain text. So this one, Project Gutenberg, I felt like got the big star on platforms because they really tried to make it as easy for everyone to use as possible. So this one's giving you lots of options to help you be able to download this easily. So I can read The Cats by Jordan Stables, and I'm set up no matter what format I want it to be in. Okay, and I'm just flying through these, so if you do have questions, you just have to let me know. All right, and this is actually the last platform that I'm going to be talking about. And this is, we had to get away from our cats. I couldn't find a Safari title with cats, so this is just the title, Planning with Kids. And it tells you that it's coming from MU Online, it's Safari Technical Books. And so this one, I find I actually encounter Safari more often than I probably encounter some of the other ones that we've been looking at, Lion or Project Gutenberg. I actually encounter Safari a little bit more. It's probably third on my list of ones that I encounter. But it's not necessarily the most friendly. I find this one to be a little bit more difficult, a little bit tricky to use. So I wanted you to get a feel. So if you click on that MU Online Access, it brings you into Safari, and it gives you the record. It has the table of contents. But this particular one doesn't really say read online, it doesn't have download, it just has start reading. So that gives me the impression that I'm probably not going to be able to download this book. I've tried every which way. People always ask me, how do I download this one? Well, in Safari, at this point in time, they haven't made download an option. And I think that's something to really take into consideration when you're looking at these different platforms is not every platform is going to allow you to download. If you're not sure and you want to double check, talk to your librarian. We will see if it's downloadable or not. But it's very much possible it's not going to let you download. eBrary told you up front, sorry, no download. This one, it just says start reading, and if you click on it, it takes you to the chapter online. And I have two arrows. I have my red and my green arrow pointing to the two things you can do with this. And one is email. You can email yourself one page, or you can print one page. And that's it. You can print the page you're looking at. So if you really wanted to go through a very time-intensive process, you could individually print every one of these pages. Not the most easy process if you really wanted a couple pages, but it is possible. But they're really trying to limit how much you're getting of this book. So this is one of those ones you can really read it online, but they haven't developed a platform to allow easy download or any of those other things. So it's giving you some options, but there's not a whole lot. One thing I do want to say as I finish out is that none of these platforms are static. They don't stay the same. So what I showed you today might change tomorrow. They're trying to make these easier to use. They're trying to change it up, and if you have problems, they're trying to listen to those problems and make them better. So just because today it's hard, hopefully down the road, maybe next week, maybe in 3 years, it will be an easier process than these so many steps that you're having to go through now. So there is hope that it will become easier. eBrary has definitely made some significant advances in this over the past year, but that's definitely something I want you to know, is that they are making some changes and adapting as they go. All right, so are there any questions? No? Okay, well, thank you so much for attending. It was a pleasure to have you as an audience.